Hello everyone. Welcome you all to Shri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend. I will be taking the zoology sections under biology. In the previous lectures, as we have learnt about the introduction or the initials of male reproductive system, today we are going to start with histology of seminiferous tubules. I hope you have watched the previous lectures. If you haven't, just scroll the playlist and go through all the previous lectures so that you can get to have a clear picture of the upcoming lectures. So we are starting with histology of seminiferous tubules, right? What exactly histology means? The term histology means study of tissues. We are basically talking about the multicellular organisms, especially humans. So we have to study about tissues. The histology of seminiferous tubules means how different cells are arranged, what are the functions of different cells in seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubules, they have the outermost layer of a white dense connective tissue that is known as what? Tunica propria. Tunica propria is the white dense connective tissue, white fibrous connective tissue which is present around seminiferous tubules. The inner lining of seminiferous tubules is basically made up of cuboidal germinal epithelium. The cells are cuboidal in shape and it is a germinal epithelium. Okay, so it is a cuboidal germinal epithelium which actually gives a inner lining of seminiferous tubules. Third, the cells which are known as sperm mother cells or spermatogonium, they are also known as spermatogenic cells, as these cells basically they form the sperm producing cells. So these spermatogenic cells who helps to produce sperm, they are known as what? Spermatogenic cells. These cells are present in germinal epithelium. As we know, germinal epithelium, it is having cuboidal cells. So these cells, they are part of germinal epithelium and they basically help to produce sperm. The process of formation of sperm is known as what? Spermatogenesis. Sertoli cells, there are two types of cells. One is Leydig cell. Leydig cells are endocrinal cells, means they are basically related for the production of some hormones, testosterone, right? So we have Leydig cells which are endocrinal in function, they produce testosterone, and the other hand we are having Sertoli cells which are nutritive in function. So Sertoli cells, these are columnar cells, okay? The germinal epithelium was cuboidal, Sertoli cells are columnar. They are present in germinal epithelium and they provide nutrition to the developing sperm. These cells are also known as sustentacular cells or nurse cells. They are also known as sustentacular cells or nurse cells, okay? They occur in mammals, right? So Sertoli cells, the main or major function of these cells is to provide food, nourishment to the developing sperm. These cells are columnar in shape, means they are pillar-like. The length is more, the height is more in comparison to the diameter or the width. These cells are known as what? Also known as what? Sustentacular cells or nurse cells, right? Now coming to the function of Sertoli cells, this is very important part and please pay attention everyone. Function of Sertoli cells, first is phagocytosis of dead sperm cells. The cells, especially the sperm cells, they are having a lifespan of 24 to 48 days. especially in female genital tract. So this duration or lifespan, it is not in female reproductive tract. It is found in female reproductive tract only, or the female genital tract. During this lifespan, during these 2 days, 1 day or 2 day, the sperm needs to fertilize an ova for the fertility, for the conceivement of the female, or for leading to the formation of zygote. In between these 2 days, if the sperm fertilizes the egg, then it's good. It is going to form a fertilized zygote. The zygote will develop into embryo, okay, and further faith, it depends. So during the passage of sperm, there are so many sperms which actually die because of nutritional deficiency or because of some other problems. So Sertoli cells, they help to phagocytose, they help to engulf, okay, they help to eat away the dead sperm cells. Other Sertoli cells also produce inhibin. Inhibin, basically it inhibits the secretion of FSH. So we can also learn that inhibin, it imposes a negative feedback on FSH, right? Then Sertoli cells also produce anti-Mullerian hormone, also known as Mullerian inhibiting factor. This Mullerian inhibiting factor actually inhibits the formation of female reproductive duct system in fetus, okay. So to prevent the formation of female reproductive duct system in fetus, the secretion of this Mullerian inhibiting hormone is done with the help of Sertoli cells. Next function of Sertoli cell is Sertoli cells helps to form the basis of blood-testis barrier, okay. What is blood-testis barrier? See, in humans we are having different checkpoints, and these checkpoints are the barriers. For example, if a lady is pregnant, then she will have a placental barrier. This barrier basically prevents the passage of toxic materials, passage of drugs, passage of some other non-nutritive substances. So it prevents the passage of all these toxic substances, non-nutritive substances, and the other drugs, so that they cannot come and mix with the fetal blood and can produce any harm to it. That is why there is a barrier of epithelium, okay. This barrier of epithelium and connective tissue basically helps to prevent or to filter the blood at certain checkpoints. As you are having police stations and we are having public booths, okay, where we can actually go and lodge our complaints. In the same way, the body, it is having multiple checkpoints through which the blood needs to be filtered, okay. So we are having a blood testis barrier. The blood, when it enters through testis, it needs to cross this barrier, and maximally most of the drugs, they are just eliminated through this barrier, okay. So the main thing you have to basically jot down is tunica propria, which is the outermost layer, germinal epithelium, which is the innermost layer, spermatogenic cells which produce sperm, right? Then the seminiferous tubules, they have basically two types of cells, Leydig cells and Sertoli cells. Leydig cells, they are endocrinal. Sertoli cells, they are nutritive. Leydig cells, their main function is to produce testosterone, and Sertoli cells, the functions are: first, it helps in the phagocytosis of dead, injured sperm cells, okay. Second, it helps to produce inhibin. Inhibin, it inhibits the secretion, controls the secretion of follicle stimulating hormone. Sertoli cells also need to secrete in embryological conditions the Mullerian inhibitory hormone or anti-Mullerian hormone, which inhibits the formation of female reproductive duct system in fetus, right? Sertoli cells, it make itself a most important basis for the formation of blood testis barrier, so that it can check or put a check or cross check the flow of impurities in the blood, so that they might not reach to the testis or the male reproductive tract. Sertoli cells, they are columnar, germinal epithelium cuboidal. Sertoli cells, they are also known as what? Sustentacular cells or nerve cells. Very good. Students, now we are moving to the next slide. The next slide is the continuation of the previous one. Sertoli cells, they can extract or they can synthesize estrogen from testosterone. Sertoli cells, they can easily extract estrogen from testosterone, and that is why estrogen basically it shifts the male secondary sexual characters, or we can say the secretion of testosterone, the secretion of estrogen at high levels, it can depress the male secondary sexual characteristics, and it can, dominate, or it can reflect, it can impose the female or the feminine secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, so the level or the balance between testosterone and estrogen should be there. Okay, so if estrogen is high, then it is basically shifted more towards the female secondary sexual characteristics. If the testosterone is high, then automatically it is towards the masculine characteristic or the male secondary sexual characteristics. Now coming to next, they also secretes androgen binding protein. What is this androgen binding protein? Androgen binding protein, basically these proteins attach to androgens, and one of the most important androgen is testosterone. So they attach to testosterone and they help to resynthesize testosterone again and again in seminiferous tubules. So basically these androgen binding proteins helps to increase the level of testosterone in seminiferous tubule, helps to increase the level of testosterone in seminiferous tubules. Is it understood? Okay. Now next come Leydig cells. Leydig cells, they are interstitial cells, means they are present in between the follicular cells. There are two types of cells. We are having follicular cells like this. In between follicular cells, we are having the interstitial cells. So these interstitial cells, they make a group like this, and they are known as what? Leydig cells. Leydig cells, they are endocrinal in function. They are endocrinal in function, and they help to produce testosterone. Okay. Now coming to next, androgen binding protein, they helps to bind with testosterone. This point I have already explained it to you. Vasa difference, it is basically lined up by pseudo stratified, false, pseudo means false, okay, stratified, multiple layered epithelium, pseudo stratified epithelium with stereocilia. Stereocilia is a cilia which is non-motile. So actually vas deferens cells, they don't have to move, they don't have to shift their place, they have to just beat, and they, because of their beating, they actually helps the moving sperm to have a forward force. Okay, the moving sperms, they actually get propulsed by the beating of these stereocilia. means, for example, someone is basically give a back pressure, okay, to the developing or to the moving sperms. So that back pressure is provided by these stereocilia. Vas difference, or we can say the stereocilia, they are basically outlined by smooth muscle layer, okay. Now penis is the male copulatory organ. It is the part of external genitalia, right. Penis helps in the transfer of semen into female body. So basically penis, it actually a part of sexual intercourse organ which help to transfer the semen from male to female, okay. True penis is a characteristic of reptilians and mammals. So you have to remember that true penis, it is found only in mammals and reptilians, right? Okay. Now coming to next, I am having, or I will be just showing a picture of a transverse section of male penis. These are follicular cells and these are interstitial cells. Interstitial, in between, right? So just a minute. Yeah. So a transverse section of penis, it basically comes up with corpus cavernosum and corpus spongiosum. Corpus spongiosum is the part which is basically lining the penile urethra. It is at the anterior side. Anterior means at the front. It is at the front. And it is at the back or distal side. So this corpus spongiosum, okay, and corpus cavernosum. So cavernosum, basically it is filled with n number of blood capillaries. These blood capillaries, they are having sinuses, means small pores. So these pores are filled with blood, okay, and the blood gets accumulated in between these pores. The moment blood gets accumulated in between these pores, what will happen? The erectile tissue of the penis gets excited and it get ready for the phase of sexual intercourse, right? So corpus cavernosum, it basically helps the penis to get into a state of erectileness so that it can be a part of sexual intercourse. Then corpus spongiosum, it basically helps in the, it also helps in the erection of penis. The person or the sufferers of erectile dysfunction syndrome, they may have abnormalities in the pooling of blood in corpus cavernosum. Corpus cavernosum and pooling of blood is related to a chemical substance which is known as what? NO. NO is nitrogen monoxide. This NO creates a certain amount of blood pressure, and this blood pressure, because of this pressure of blood, okay, the blood flows into the corpus cavernosum and gets accumulated, okay, right. So I think in this PPT, in this slide, everything is clear. So we will be moving towards the next slide. The next slide is a transverse section of mammalian testes, which basically help us to understand about that how a mammalian testis from inside it looks like. You can easily see that the germinal epithelium is surrounding each and every cell like a mother keeping her baby in her lap. So this is basically the germinal epithelium. This germinal epithelium, the layer which is just attached to germinal epithelium, for example, this is germinal epithelium, okay, this is germinal epithelium. So this germinal epithelium cells are cuboidal, like this, these are cuboidal. So these cuboidal cells, they basically rest on a layer, and this layer is known as what? Basement membrane. This layer, I think it is visible. It is known as what? Basement membrane, right? This is germinal epithelium. Now this germinal epithelium, it undergoes mitotic division to form spermatogonium. So this germinal epithelium, it basically undergoes mitotic division to form spermatogonium. These spermatogoniums, they basically helps to form primary and secondary spermatocyte. Primary and secondary spermatocyte. Primary and secondary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte forms secondary spermatocyte, and secondary spermatocyte, it forms immature sperm, that is known as what? Spermatid. Spermatid. So everything I will be telling in detail when we will study about the spermatogenesis process. Okay, this spermatid further it converts into spermatozoa or mature sperm, right? Now the most important thing which you actually have to catch here is Sertoli cells. You can see Sertoli cells. Yeah, these are Sertoli cells. These Sertoli cells, they are actually nutritive in function. Okay, they are nutritive in function. These Sertoli cells, as I have explained it to you, they are also known as sustentacular cells. They are also known as sustentacular cells, right? So Sertoli cells, they are also known as sustentacular cells, and these sustentacular cells or Sertoli cells, they help actually to provide nutrition to the developing sperm. Now we are having a group of cells which are known as what? Interstitial cells, and these interstitial cells are known as what? Leydig cells. They are known as what? Leydig cells. Leydig cells are endocrinal in function. They are endocrinal in function, means they are basically related with the production of hormones like androgens and especially testosterone, right? So we are having the Leydig cells or the interstitial cells which help to produce the endocrinal hormones like testosterone or androgens. Then we have blood vessels. The blood vessels, they help to supply the gonadal, known as testicular vessels, testicular arteries, testicular veins. Okay. Then we have, the sperm. You can see the seminiferous tubules. If we cut the mammalian testis, if we cut the seminiferous tubules, then you can see at the proximal end, this end is proximal because here is the cavity through which the sperm will get free. Okay, this is proximal end, and this part which is towards the germinal epithelium, it is the distal end. Okay, so basically this is the spermatogonium, then primary spermatocyte, then secondary spermatocyte, then immature sperm, and then mature sperm. Okay, is this understood? Now coming next, spermatogenesis. Now you will study about the brief process of spermatogenesis, what are the different steps and all. Spermatogenesis, it is the process of formation of sperm. First point. Site of sperm synthesis is seminiferous tubules. Where sperm formation takes place? Seminiferous tubules. The germinal epithelium means the epithelium which will give rise to sperm mother cell, means spermatogonium. Okay, it is cuboidal, and it is glandular. Okay, this glandular germinal epithelium or the cuboidal epithelium is having ability of undergoing division. Okay, cell division, and this cell division is both mitosis and meiosis. Okay, so the sperm mother cell, it is basically formed, or the spermatogonia is basically formed from the cuboidal germinal epithelium cells through the process of division. Okay, through the process of mitotic or meiotic division. Okay, now coming next, spermatogonia. Spermatogonia is basically the sperm mother cell, and it basically derives from primordial germinal cells or primitive germinal cells. These primitive germinal cells basically came into existence when during embryological development, extra embryonic mesoderm, it is formed. The moment extra embryonic mesoderm is formed, it will give rise to the primitive germ cells or the primordial germ cells. Okay, so if somebody asks that what is primitive or primordial germ cell, you can just write they are basically formed by the extra embryonic mesoderm, and these primitive germ cells, they will give rise to the sperm, means they are sperm mother cell, right? The moment a sperm mother cell starts to make sperm, there are two main processes. One is spermacytogenesis and the second one is spermiogenesis. Now what is the difference between these two? If the processes are different, then it means 100% we have to actually catch that they are having something morphologically or something distinct. Okay, so the spermacytogenesis or spermiogenesis, they are different in basically these ways. From spermatogonium till the formation of immature sperm, means spermatid. So the journey basically starts from spermatogonium and it concludes at the formation of spermatid. This whole process comes under the spermacytogenesis. This is known as what? Spermacytogenesis. Okay. Then we have spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis means the conversion or the transformation of spermatid into spermatozoa. The process of transformation of spermatid into spermatozoa or the mature sperm is known as what? Spermiogenesis. So we have two main differentiation forms. First is spermacytogenesis and the second is spermiogenesis. Spermacytogenesis is basically the formation of spermatid, means immature sperm. Now what? The immature sperm needs to get mature, as simple. So these immature sperms, they get to mature by the process of spermiogenesis. Spermatogenesis, it includes in 3 steps. First is multiplication, second is growth, and third is maturation. Multiplication, growth, and maturation. What is multiplication? The primitive germinal cells or the primordial germinal cells, they form spermatogonia. They form what? Spermatogonia by the process of mitosis. Okay, so that's why I have written here mitosis, right? So in the multiplication process, the primitive germinal cells or the primordial germinal cells, they are going to form spermatogonia by the process of mitosis. Now these spermatogonia, they are of 2 types, type A and type B. Type A, basically it acts as stem cells. Why? Because type A needs to be converted into different forms, different other forms of cells. Okay, the reason being, as the sperm is formed and it basically leaves the seminiferous tubules, there is one point, the moment secretion of seminal vesicles and prostatic secretions and the Cowper's secretions, Cowper's gland secretions, they actually merge with each other. Because of their merging, most of the medium, it becomes highly dense. So to cross that medium, sperm actually utilizes its energy. Now the medium is to be cleared. Okay, so there are different types of anticoagulating enzymes which actually helps to remove the precipitate to clear the medium so that sperm can move. And that is why most of the sperms, they die in the path only, their traveling path only. That is why type A means spermatogonia is formed, because it recycle in a recyclic fashion, it forms spermatogonia or the other cells whenever is required, right? Type B is the sperm mother cell or the primary. Now this type B spermatogonium, it undergoes the process of growth, means it undergoes the process of the cellular enlargement, mitosis, to form primary spermatocyte. It forms primary spermatocyte. Okay, primary spermatocyte is having diploid condition, they are diploid. Sperm mother cell, diploid condition. Type A, diploid condition. PGC, diploid condition 2n. Spermatogonia, diploid condition 2n, right? Now the third phase is maturation phase, right? This is maturation phase. Now maturation phase, it includes what? That each primary spermatocyte, every single primary spermatocyte which is diploid, it undergoes two successive divisions, right? And these divisions are maturational division. They are known as what? Maturational divisions. These maturational division, the first division is reductive division, means the meiotic division. The first meiotic division is the reductive division, in which the chromosome number becomes half. And the second maturational division is the equational division, in which the chromosome number remains same, so that they can maintain the change that was happened during the reductive cellular division. So during maturation phase, children, you have to remember, my dear students, that each primary spermatocyte, which is 2n, undergoes two successive division, means maturational division, reductive and equational. The reductive division, chromosome number becomes half. In the equational division, the chromosome number remains same. Now coming next, formation of spermatozoa from spermatids. This process is known as what? Spermiogenesis. As I have already told you, spermiogenesis and spermacytogenesis. So spermiogenesis means spermatid to sperm. Spermacytogenesis means spermatogonium to spermatid. Transformation of spermatid into spermatozoa or sperm, it actually needs androgen binding protein, that is high levels of testosterone. Okay, that is why there are many cases of male infertility or impotency, or we can say the low sperm count, like oligospermia. I have explained you in the previous slides. Okay, in the previous lecture, oligospermia is the semen content is less than 20 ml. Okay, the range is 20 to, the range is, the formation of the secretion of the semen is what? That the range is 20 to tell me, yeah, 20 to 200 ml. Okay, it is 20 to 200 ml of a semen amount which can be secreted, and this semen amount can have around 200 to 300 million sperms at a time. In a one ejaculate, a person can have 200 to 300 sperms at a one ejaculation. So that is why, to make or for the fertility or for conceivement of a female, she wants to become pregnant, the minimum amount of fertile sperms are needed 60%, right? So 60% of sperms, they should have an identical morphology, similar size, shape and similar motility, right? That is why they can reach up to the site where fertilization is occurring or going to occur. Now spermiogenesis, the sperm head gets embedded. Spermiogenesis is done. Spermatozoa is formed. Now the mature sperm needs to go outside, okay, needs to leave seminiferous tubules. And why it needs to seminiferous need to leave seminiferous tubules? Because the intratesticular duct system is waiting for the welcome. Okay, ducts means the seminiferous tubules, they will open into straight tubules, tubuli recti, and these tubuli recti further merge into mediastinum. Mediastinum will further be converted into capoepididymis, okay, retitestis into capoepididymis. Capoepididymis then is converted into vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia then is converted into vasa differentia. So we are having a whole pathway I have told you in the previous lectures. So after spermiogenesis, sperm is formed, it needs to, take good amount of nutrition, to store good amount of nutrition, and that is why it needs Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells, they are nutritive cells, they are nut cells, means they will provide the food from the kitchen, okay. And after having that food or energy, whatever they want to, they release themselves from seminiferous tubules. This process of release of sperms from seminiferous tubules is known as what? Spermiation. It is known as what? Spermiation. So I hope everything is understood till here. Now we are going to talk about whatever is given in the next slide. Yeah. Spermatogenesis. Okay. So this actual process of spermatogenesis I was just trying to explain in the previous slides, that this is the basement membrane. The basement membrane which is having the germinal epithelium, which is cuboidal. Yeah. Cuboidal. They have primary spermatocyte. You can see the primary spermatocyte 2n, 2n, 2n. Okay. Sorry, they are not primary spermatocyte. I'm so sorry. They are not primary spermatocyte. They are primordial germ cells. They are primordial germ cells. PGC. Okay. Primordial germ cells or primitive germ cells. Now these primordial germ cells or primitive germ cells, they actually are going to have a mitotic division. The moment they undergo mitotic division, they are going to form spermatogonium. Spermatogonium. Now spermatogonium type A will act as a stem cell, and type B will act as a sperm mother cell. Okay. So this type B, which will act as a sperm mother cell, it further undergoes mitotic division to form primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Understood? The journey is actually starting from the germinal epithelium. The cells, they basically converted into primordial germ cells, which are basically derived from extra embryonic mesoderm. These primordial germ cells, they form spermatogonia. Spermatogonia type A and type B. Type A becomes stem cells and type B is ready for further its fate. Means this type B is known as what? Sperm mother cell. It will undergo the mitotic division to form primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte further undergoes meiotic division. Now the number of chromosomes is going to change, right? So this primary spermatocyte, the condition is 2n, but the secondary spermatocyte, the condition is what? N, haploid. Okay. Now these N or the secondary spermatocyte, they are going to form, or they are going to conclude with the second meiotic division. Now in class 11, the cell cycle chapter, you have studied already about that the first cell or first cellular division is reductional of meiosis and the second is mitosis. Because for example, if someone is having 46 chromosomes, it undergoes the meiotic division to form sperm and ova, 23 chromosomes for example. Now, if further meiotic division can conclude, then 23 becomes what? It becomes what? 11.5. 11.5, which cannot happen. And that is why this 23 needs to be conserved. So because we need to conserve the chromosomes, because the number of chromosomes are actually, they are the remarkers of our species, that we humans, we are having actually same number of chromosomes, that is 46. That is why the number of chromosomes need to be restored anyhow. Okay, so this primary spermatocyte undergoes meiotic division to form spermatid, immature sperm. This spermatid, with the help of different maturation factors, it is converted into spermatozoa. These maturation factors are what? Testosterone, obviously, androgen binding protein, obviously. Okay, so all these hormones, they actually help to produce mature spermatozoa. Okay, so this is the whole path. Okay, the Sertoli cells function I have already explained, the Leydig cells function I have already explained. Okay, so need not to repeat each again and again. You can see the mature sperm is coming out. Okay, it will come out, right? Yes. Now moving to the next slide, the hormonal control of spermatogenesis, my friends. Very, very important topic. How the spermatogenesis or the formation of sperm is actually controlled. What are the different hormones which are released by different body parts to control the spermatogenesis? The very first is the gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Always remember, hypothalamus it controls pituitary with the help of releasing factors and inhibitory factors. The releasing factors RF and the inhibitory factors IF, they actually are secreted when the hypothalamus actually got to sense, got to feel that okay, in blood the amount, the concentration is optimum, it is right, when there is no need to unnecessary secrete to flow. Okay, so growth, for the proper growth of body, the hormones, they are necessary, but the exact amount, the optimum amount of hormones is necessary. And that is why the gonadotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus, it actually push the anterior pituitary to secrete luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. LH stands for luteinizing hormone and FSH stands for follicle stimulating hormone. Right? So the hypothalamus secretes anterior pituitary, hypothalamus basically kicks anterior pituitary to secrete the luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Now the luteinizing hormone LH, it actually functions, or it actually is needed by the interstitial cells or the Leydig cells, interstitial cells or the Leydig cells, to produce testosterone. So basically luteinizing hormone is having a function to activate the Leydig cells so that they can produce testosterone hormone, which is actually needed. Testosterone hormone which is actually needed. Okay. Then we have the follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone which are secreted or by the anterior lobe of the pituitary, they actually work on the Sertoli cells. Okay. So a question, let's see who will answer it. substrate of FSH. Substrate means on which some work is done. So FSH is going to perform work on Sertoli cells. Follicle stimulating hormone, it is a hormone, mean it is a chemical messenger, and these chemical messengers, they are going to turn in Sertoli cells कि भाई Sertoli cells you have to perform your work, don't waste your time. Okay, so Sertoli cells, they basically secretes or activates the androgen binding proteins, and these androgen binding proteins, they basically binds, attaches more and more amount of testosterone, so that they could increase the levels of testosterone in seminiferous tubules. Then the Sertoli cells, they also helps to maintain the level of all these hormones, right? So Sertoli cells, they secrete inhibin to inhibit, to resist, to inhibit what? Follicle stimulating hormone. So follicle stimulating hormone is actually inhibited by inhibin, and androgen binding protein is basically trying to activate testosterone, right? FSH, a follicle stimulating hormone, it also helps to stimulate spermatogonia to form more and more sperm, right? So actually follicles, they are the part of gonads, whether we talk about the male gonad or a female gonad. These follicles, they are basically under the control of the anterior lobe of the pituitary, as anterior lobe of the pituitary specially secretes what? Hormones which are either proteins or glycoproteins mostly. But the fact is, all these testicular hormones, they are either lipoproteins, glycoproteins or lipids, or especially they have cholesterol in them, means they are steroidal. So they need good amount of steroids, and for making or maintaining the level of steroids, body needs to show feedback mechanism. So what type of feedback mechanism? I'll just show you with the help of an example. I'll rub this. I hope you all are getting me. Okay. So how actually it is controlled, I'll show you. This is gonadotropin releasing hormone, equivalent to Dadaji, equivalent to grandfather, controls anterior lobe of pituitary, controls father, who is the master of your home, controls master of your home. Then this anterior lobe of the pituitary further helps or controls the gonads by secreting FSH and LH. So this anterior lobe of the pituitary helps to secrete FSH and LH, and this FSH will work on, LH will work on Leydig cells, FSH will work on Sertoli cells. Is that understood? Okay. So now, if the levels of testosterone are already high in blood, so this high level of testosterone basically puts a negative impact on GnRH and LH, right? So it basically provides a negative impact. When GnRH is not secreted, anterior lobe of the pituitary, it will also not secrete luteinizing hormone. So basically testosterone, it imposes a negative impact on both GnRH and luteinizing hormone. And the other one, FSH or inhibin. So basically inhibin, it inhibits the follicle stimulating hormone, right? FSH, it basically stimulates the Sertoli cells, it basically secretes inhibin, which further maintain the levels of FSH. So both the levels of FSH and LH and GnRH are required. Okay, if testosterone is high, GnRH and LH will be low. Okay, is that understood? Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. If the levels of FSH are high, means more and more amount of spermatogonia will be converted into the primary spermatocyte. They will further proliferate, they will further make more and more amount of sperm mother cells. So everything needs to be controlled. Okay, and this control is basically pursued by the feedback mechanism. Okay, now coming to next, we are having structure of sperm. So how structure of sperm, you have to actually learn the main parts, the main anatomical details. The very first thing, you just write it down that at the proximal end you are having what? Acrosomal cap. And at the distal end you are having what? Head. I am talking about head. So head, proximal end, acrosomal cap, distal end, nucleus. Nucleus is N, haploid. Now coming to next, what is the function of acrosome? Acrosome is basically a modified lysosome. Produced by Golgi body or Golgi body. So acrosome is the modified lysosome which is basically produced by Golgi body, and it helps to produce hyaluronidase enzyme. This hyaluronidase enzyme basically breaks the collagen fibers of ovum wall, and it gets penetrated. Along with it, it also secretes spermolysins or spermolysins, means which helps in the lysis of ovary wall. So these are some important terms you have to remember: hyaluronidase, which helps to penetrate the ovum wall, and spermolysins. Okay, now coming to next, I am describing the second feature, the middle piece. The middle piece, it is having a centriole. This is a centriole. This centriole is known as what? Proximal centriole. Proximal centriole, it helps in determination of first cleavage. During first cleavage, as soon as zygote is formed, now zygote is trying to convert into embryo. Okay, so this first cleavage in embryo basically starts with the help of proximal tubule, right? Proximal centrioles. Okay, just after the proximal centriole, We are having mitochondria which are arranged in a spiral-like fashion, zigzag, like this. Okay. So this is also known as what? Mitochondrial spiral. Okay, or mitochondrial sheath or assembly. This mitochondria, around 25 mitochondria, they basically lie or arrange parallel to the flagellum. This flagellum is basically, or the axial filament is basically produced by the distal centriole. At the front side proximal P, at the back side distal D. Distal will make the axial filament and proximal will help to cleave or help in the determination of the cleavage site of embryo. Okay. Now, just at the junction of mitochondria, the moment mitochondria it ends up, the middle piece it is having in the main broad structure, the major structure, the mitochondria spiral. Okay. Now they have a annular ring. This is a annular ring. Okay. Now this annular ring basically helps to bypass the flagellum, and this flagella continues to form at the end piece. This is known as what? End piece, right? This axial filament, it shows a pattern of 9+2 microfilaments. Okay, 9+2 microfilaments. Okay, in class 11th, I think you have studied about this is the structure. Okay, where triplets are arranged. Okay, 9 triplets are arranged in a fashion. Okay, when we study about the centrosome or the centriole. Okay, so sorry. Just a minute. Just we will complete that only. Yeah. So we have axial filament having a pattern of 9+2, okay, which actually ends in the form of end piece. Okay. So the things you have to remember: the acrosome, the function of acrosome, the proximal centriole and the distal centriole. Proximal centriole, it forms first cleavage in embryos. Distal centriole, it forms axial filament. The axial filament arrangement is 9+2. The mitochondrial annular ring, it basically bypasses the flagellum, and the collection of mitochondria, around 25 mitochondria, which basically wrap up the whole middle piece, right? So is this I've tried to explain everything which is in the male reproductive system, or which can be possible to tell you. We will be starting the female reproductive system, and afterwards we will start with the different types of eggs and different types of cleavage. Till then, please wait for the next lecture. And please go on revising the previous ones, right? So please be at home, stay safe, stay blessed. God bless you all. Bye bye.